Oh, that low is slowly advancing.
Yeah.
Well, a very good evening, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David. And I'm looking out on, I put 100% cloud cover down, but it is not. It has now cleared a bit, waiting for the next mist to come our way. It is, however, a pleasant 18 degrees, about 7 knots from the northeast. And I know you people out there will probably be wishing you had 7 knots from the northeast, those of you that have got 25 to 30. But anyway, 100% cloud cover before, and now it's about 80%, I suppose. And 1021 on the bar. It's a reasonably quick night tonight. What we'll do, I think, is I'll just give a little bit of news. Then David, I know, is just going to talk about the passage for those that are chomping at the bit to get out of Dodge. And then I'll bring in the boats and he can cover the boat weather. Colfie, I know, will be listening because they would like some weather outlook. And then we've got Calamira, Alula, Mackay and Sweetwaters. We haven't got anything from Sweetwaters or Calamira, should I say. Calamira, there's a couple of boats with the same start. Calamira and Sweetwaters haven't had much in the way of AIS, so we'll be anxious to get those. Anyway, it's a long weekend for many of those that come from the USA, Memorial Weekend and Bank Holiday in the UK. I meant to look up what the idea of a bank holiday is. I can't think of any organisation less needing of a holiday than the banking industry, but anyway, it's a bank holiday. I'm sure there's a better reason for it.
Trying to figure out how to spend their money.
Yes, spending all the profits. We have our long weekend next week. At the end of next week, it's, well, I was going to say Queen's birthday, but it's not now. It's King's birthday weekend next weekend for us. So it seems to be a time of the year for long weekends. Of interest to you guys, though, will be a latest whale attack off the coast of Spain, right down the bottom of Spain near the Cadiz province. They're having a lot of trouble. Last year there were 207 whale attacks, orcas, between there and Gibraltar, and there is another one this week, a 20-metre British flag boat, a pod of orcas, broke the rudder and pierced the hull. They got towed back to Barbate, and I guess we'll be wondering what to do next. There's been 20 interactions of this pod of orcas this month alone. It's absolutely amazing. There was an article in the paper a few days ago about the possible reason for this. They're postulating that a mama orca got caught in nets or got damaged by a boat or something like that, and she's naturally fairly pissed about that and is training the younger ones to attack. And the recommendation is, if you have a bit of trouble like this, is to turn off your autopilot and don't move the rudder. Evidently the younger ones sort of take it as a bit of a plaything to ram the rudder that might be moving around a bit. So we haven't had them yet, although they have been sightings in Western Australia. So I hope these orcas stay where they are, although it makes it rather difficult to go from the UK and Europe on your route, on the normal route south. So anyway, we don't have to worry about that too much. Okay, I know there's a lot of interest in the passage weather next week, so I'm passing the microphone.
Yep, okay, we'll get right into it. And first off, I'm going to address one boat in particular, Calliope.
That's later.
Mama is kind of...
That's later.
Oh, that's later, I think. Well, okay, that's later. So let's talk about whether we go Tuesday or whether we go Wednesday or whether we go tomorrow or whether we go Monday. Well, you don't want to go tomorrow. There's no question about that. And there's probably not much question about going Monday, too. I would X those off your calendar and say, forget about it. So the next idea amongst the majority of boats from what we had heard yesterday and the day before, was to go on Tuesday. Now, in my view, when we looked at it yesterday, Tuesday did not look good at all as far as we were concerned. Now, I think I need to break down that remark into the destinations. So, in other words, if you were going to New Caledonia or Vanuatu, I would say that Tuesday is not a good idea, in our opinion. Winds are going to be out of the northwest, not very strong. By the way, they're strong Sunday and Monday. They're definitely strong, but Tuesday they do drop off considerably, but not a good direction for New Caledonia and Vanuatu. But if you're going to Minerva, Tonga, Fiji, in that direction, then I would give it about a 50-50 chance of a reasonable passage. The winds, depending upon what model that you want to look at, are generally going to be out of the north, about 10 to 15 knots, and there are going to be showers in this as well. Now, the reason for this is we've got that huge anticyclone, that huge high that's to the east of New Zealand. That's the one that's basically a blocking high, and that's been there now for a few days. It's very, very slow going, hardly moving at all. Just to the west of that, just to the west of New Zealand, is a depression, and that's the one that is going to be giving us strife here in New Zealand tonight and into tomorrow and possibly into Monday as well. And above that, north of that, I should say, is another high, the next high that's moving into the northern Tasman, the Coral Sea area, and the northern Tasman. So anyway, all those winds are going to be coming together at about 175 east, and they're going to collide. When they do that, we're going to have convective activity, and with that means rain, squalls, and all that sort of thing. So that's what I see for Tuesday. So sum it up again. If you're going to New Cal or Vanuatu, you may want to think about it. It doesn't look spectacular to us. If you're going to Tonga, Fiji, or Minerva, then yeah, it may be okay to go on Tuesday. The winds, you'll be on the wind for sure on Tuesday, not very strong, but you can anticipate showers, and in and amongst them are going to be squalls. So you can have certainly winds that could jump up very quickly up to 30 knots or thereabouts for short periods of time, that's for sure. So what day? So the best day, from what we can see at the moment, is Wednesday. The winds look to be roughly southwest, give or take on that, about 12 to 15 knots. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty good, consistent direction for everybody. So whether you're going to Tonga, Minerva, Fiji, Vanuatu, New Caledonia, I think for the next 5 or 6 days, if nothing changes the way it's looking now, Wednesday looks like the day that we would probably go. And again, it's the way it looks now. Now that may change. So tomorrow, Sunday, we'll update that and see what has changed regarding the models and go from there. So that's the story. And by the way, on the western side of this very large high that we talked about, that's to the east of New Zealand, we're going to have very fresh, strong winds all the way from New Zealand, all the way almost due north, all the way up 175, almost the date line, 175, 178, the date line, right up and down, straight up and down, north, south, very strong winds. So those of you that are en route and you're up in that area, then you can anticipate the joy of those winds. And they're going to be essentially, depending upon where you are, they could either be north-northeast, they could be north or north-northwest. Either way, more or less on the nose. So that's it. I'm not going to go into the weather at the moment and all the various island groups because I know at this point nobody really cares. You just want to know what the weather is going to be to take off, and if you have taken off, what kind of weather you can expect to have in the next day or so. So with that, I'm going to give it to the chief, and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, as soon as you're handy with the weather there, I think we'll do Colfie first because I know Peter is listening. So I got a message from Alice. Colfie at the moment, or about 15 minutes ago anyway, it was at 31 degrees, 04 south, 17216 east on your way to Vanuatu, 5.8 knots at the moment on a course of 303. It looks fairly boisterous out there. According to GFS, it's 25. So what have you got for them for the next few days?
All right, I specifically looked for that boat and what they're going to expect over the next few days. And I would say we're looking tomorrow, this is about lunchtime tomorrow. Northerly winds for them about 23 up to 26, 27 knots. So they're heading to Vanuatu, so that's more or less on the nose. Not comfortable at all. That's for Sunday. Looking at Monday, for that same period of time around lunch, the wind shifts a wee bit. We're looking at northwest winds, and believe it or not, light to variable. I really can't put a number on it because there's just hardly anything there at all. That high that I was talking about, that's entering the Tasman from the west, it's just the isobars are extremely far apart, and there's hardly anything at all. So they're going to go from horrible winds to hardly anything at all on Monday. On Tuesday, though, it'll pick up a little bit, and we'll be looking for them at south to southeast winds, and I would say in the neighborhood of 10 knots. So south to southeast, around 10 knots, that's Tuesday. Wednesday, it picks up again as the isobars start to compress a little bit and the high starts to move. I would say southeast winds 20 to 25 knots. So that's Wednesday, southeast 20 to 25. So we'll see how that pans out over the next couple of days, but that's for me what it looks like at the moment. Here's the chief.
All right, well, let's see which of my antennas is going to work. I always like to start with a Barry on Mackay because it's a good signal from him. Mackay, Gulf Harbour Radio.
Roger, Gulf Harbour Radio. This is Sailor from Mackay. How copy?
Oh, it's wonderful to be able to actually get it through my vertical here, which, as you know, is quite surprising to get such good signal on a vertical in an urban area because it's about the height of the high-tension wires going past the road here. Anyway, I guess you've got a bit of wind out there. Go ahead with your report, Barry.
Yeah, roger on that. Okay, our position is 27 degrees, 49 minutes south, 175 degrees, 19 minutes east. And their current wind is about 20 knots from the east, almost to the southeast, actually. 20 knots from the southeast. Our current course is 310. And our speed over ground is 6.1 knots. We're doing 6.1. And cloud conditions, high conditions, basically cloud condition. We've got no blue sky at all. It's 100% overcast. The swell is about 1.5 to 2 meters out of the southeast, east-southeast. And our barometric pressure is 1019. That's 1019. Back to you, Patricia.
Okay, oh well, that actually doesn't sound too bad, does it? The GFS, you'll be interested to know, is still sticking with, oh no, it had 20 knots when I just looked at you, so yeah, they're pretty much bang on. I always expected them to be a little bit different. Anyway, Mackay, 2749 south, 17519 east, on a course 010 at 6.1, with 20 knots of southeast, 100% cloud cover, 1.5 to 2 metre east-southeast, so a little bit of a push there. 1019, and I guess everyone's reasonably happy with that. Over.
Correction on the course, Patricia, it is 310. Course is 310.
Oh, right, 310. I thought I heard that, and I thought, no, I think he's different. So that just goes to show I should pay attention to my ears. Here's David.
Yeah, me too, being mostly deaf. But moving you a little bit further to the north tomorrow, winds are going to lighten up considerably for you from what I could see. We've got essentially the two high-pressure areas are going to emerge considerably. And I would say northeast winds, probably about 5, maybe 10 knots, maybe even less. You might even have to motor. It looks like very, very light air. Now, I've got your longitude at 175, 19, is that right?
Yes, yep.
I'm going to move this just a little bit. And now I'm going to change your forecast. How about that? That's faster than the models do. This actually is going to be probably a neighborhood of northeast winds. You'll be getting up around the 20 knot area. You've got easterlies 20 now, I think you said. Well, they're going to back just a little bit, I think, not much, but looks like northeast, say around 20. That'll be tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. Over.
Okay, Roger, Dave. Well, I guess it's all the same. We can handle that one. We can really good time, and everything's fine. It's not too bad. You had me a little bit scared there with the 30 knots and the line coming down from Fiji. I was like, what? I was hoping to be less than. Looks like I'm going to be over.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
you just seem to be paying attention.
Well, at least it keeps you awake anyway. Yeah, I've been known to make mistakes like that. So, anyway, yeah, things are going to lighten up as the days go by. Now, we're going to make a little bit of a change here for you, and hang on one second. I'm going to give this back to the chief because I can't hold this mic on and think and talk at the same time. Hang on.
That's because he's a male. You know, if it was a reverse situation here, I'm sure the multitasking would be a lot better. I'm just peering out the window here. I have David put up a tui feeder because our neighbours across the road have a tui feeder, which I've now inherited because they had to get a bigger one because they had about 6 tuis scrapping over it. And it's outside, but they haven't found it yet, unfortunately. And I did a bit of a spillage job with you just have a sugar water mixture with a bit of cochineal in because they like red, evidently. And I spilled a bit, so I've got about 1 trillion ants around it. Maybe the tuis don't like ants, but anyway, I'm peering out the window in the dusk here, but there's no tuis feeding from it.
Give me that lat long one more
I've
time.
got 2749 and 17519, and he's on a course of 310 at the moment. So there you go. He's just having a good look, Barry. Just take a deep breath and relax. Get the crew to do the work.
Well, yeah, I'm sailing single-handed, so if any of the crew gets yelled at, I'm yelling at myself.
Yeah. Do you have a name for the autopilot?
I've got a wind vane out there, and it's had a number of names. Some of them I can't mention on the radio, but it's been very well behaved lately, so I'm calling it Happiness.
Yeah, we don't have one on the good ship Chameleon anymore. Well, it was a bit difficult because we've with the davits and things for the dinghy, not on passage of course, but it's we just didn't use the previous one on the previous boat all that often because the Chameleon crew are a little bit lazy and tended to just put the autopilot on. So anyway, do you have a wind generator as well?
No negative on the generator. I've got solar panels, 600 watts of solar, and a small Honda generator. And I'm really thinking that I may have needed a wind generator. We just didn't see very much sun at all this whole summer up there, over.
No, you can say that again. And we managed to wreck one of our solar panels, but it didn't seem to make much difference because of the lack of sun anyway. But the wind generator, for sure. Although that's interesting you should say that, because we actually blew up one wind generator when we went up the east coast of the North Island from Wellington. We were trying to get through to French Polynesia. Anyway, the wind was very strong. It was about 60 knots. So we blew that one up, and we've got this wind generator now, the D400, and it's a great wind generator. But as the wind was getting stronger for Gabrielle, we thought, we better just look up what wind this thing can cope with. And to cut a long story short, 40 knots is when you tie it down. So you do not break it, you have to actually physically tie it down, which was quite exciting for David. But it was a shame really, because we were looking at all those herbs going to waste. But anyway, I'll just see if David's read. Yes, he is.
No, I'm going to correct what I gave you. Is this the second correction? I'm not sure.
Yes, it is.
But looking at Sunday, tomorrow is Sunday, and I believe you'll have northerly winds tomorrow, about 10 to 15, 10 to 15 knots. It looks like you're going to be in sort of a light air area. A little bit more wind to the north of you, to the east, and to the west, but what I could see, you're in a little spot right there where the winds are just not doing much at all. So that's about lunchtime. And then I'm going to change it over to Monday and move you north a little bit. And that's where we're looking at probably northeast winds, 15 to 20, northeast about 15 to 20. So that's going to be Monday. And again, about lunchtime. Over.
Okay, well, that sounds good, David. I guess then tomorrow about lunch we'll have a real nice picnic out on the foredeck, and then start up the engine and motor sail into more wind. But I'll tell you, it will be nice to have a little bit of a calm here for a day or two. But no worries, that's kind of what I had seen also on the grips that I had downloaded. So all is good here, and I think we'll get along fine, over.
Yeah, that's good. I won't give the microphone back to him in case he changes his mind again. It is a bit sort of a funny area that he's looking at. No, I'm not giving you the microphone.
I'd like to explain why.
Oh, you've got to explain why. Okay.
So right around that longitude area, that's where the isobars are doing very funny things. They'll come in, they'll do that typical polar dip that I was talking about, but not exactly the typical polar dip. So east of where you are, the isobars are running more or less a straight line, west-east type of thing. Then they do dip. They dip toward the polar area. Then they make a turn about where you are, and they start to go northwest. So you can picture just that little arc that they do, and they're doing that from probably about 35 south all the way up to about 20 south. They're doing that little strange dip, and it's right in there that the air is doing funny things. And typically, I would expect to have a little depression forming in there, but at the moment, that doesn't look like it's happening. And both models I'm looking at, the EC and the GFS, are pretty much in agreement regarding that. So anyway, enjoy the lighter air, I'm good. Get a suntan. Over.
Okay, Roger on that, David. Well, thank you very much for that info. I'll go ahead and take a look at my grip files and see if I can notice that dip. And I did notice that when I ran the route planner, there was some foolishness around that spot. It kind of didn't know exactly what to do when routing me. It was pausing there for a long time. So, okay. Well, that's all very good information. And I know Alula is listening in tonight, and they're about guess about 30 nautical miles to the south and east of me. So probably pretty much similar situation for them as well. Thank you very much, and I don't have any more questions, so I guess I'll turn it back to Patricia. This is Mackay, over.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. And yes, Alula have a rooster tail at the moment. 5 minutes ago, they were doing 7.8 on a course of 308. So that's a pretty good speed, isn't it? They were at 2825 south and 17630 east. So good evening to the crew on Alula, Scott and Jimmer and the team. So we may catch you on 8297, but I don't think we have so far, but I'll give it a call later. Okay, well, we have a couple of missing in action on AIS at the moment, so I'll try and find them. Kalamira, Gulf Harbour. Kalamira, Gulf Harbour. Nothing heard there. Sweetwaters, Gulf Harbour Radio.
Sweetwaters, hi Patricia, do you copy? Over.
Oh yes, a nice copy again tonight. Let's go ahead.
Alright, our position is 28 degrees 51 south, 170 degrees 58 east. Our course is 330 degrees 2. Wind is from northeast, 16220 north. Wave 1 meter from the southwest. Clouds around 30%. Barometric pressure 1013. Our boat speed is around 5 knots. We are sailing with half main and stay sail. And last night we had a little bumpy night, but all is well right now. Over.
Just giving David the figures here. The wind is northeast 16 to 20. Actually, you guys have got the best. Well, apart from Barry, who always has a good signal, but about the same as Barry. Really good, clear signal for whoever's listening on streaming. 2854 south, 17058 east, and 330 course true at 5 knots with the northeast 16 to 20. 1 metre southwest swell. That's interesting. 1016 on the bar. 30% cloud cover. God, you've got the best weather of the lot. So it must have been a nice day's sail with the bit of main and the staysail, and all is well on board. I'm just passing the microphone.
I think a little bit more wind tomorrow and a different direction. I'm looking at northwest winds tomorrow around lunchtime, Sunday around lunchtime. Northwest, 20 to 25 knots. Northwest 20 to 25 knots. And I've moved you a couple of degrees up. So be interesting to see what you really do get. Over.
Thank you guys, and we had a day watching movies.
Yeah, it sounds all is well on board there, indeed. So good progress, you guys. So we'll be talking to you again tomorrow. Okay, clear with Sweetwaters. We're still missing Kalamira, but is there anybody wanting to join us? Please call now.
Gulf Harbour, this is Vendetta. Are you receiving it, brother?
Yes, I certainly am, Vendetta. Go ahead.
Yeah, Gulf Harbour, position this evening is 27 degrees, 03.4 south, 178 degrees, 35.7 east. It's got a speed of 6.5 knots, a course of 335 magnetic. We've got a wind speed of 18 to 20 knots from the east, a 2 metre day swell, overcast with 3 odd sunny days. and everyone is well on board. Over.
Just your speed again, I was a bit slow.
Your Patricia, speed is 6.5 knots. Over.
Okay, we have you at 270703 south, 17836 east, on a course of 335 magnetic, 6.5 knots, 18 to 20 from the east, 2 metre swell, and it's been on again, off again, overcast and sunny, so it doesn't sound too bad, and pretty good speed there. You guys are going to Tonga, aren't you? Over.
Negative, Patricia. We were going to Minerva, but given the discussion last night, the talk of what was happening at Minerva, we've changed plans and we're going direct to Vunda. Over.
Oh, so you're going direct now to Vunda. Okay. Let's make a note of that. So, direct. Okay, I'll just see if David's got any update.
I think tomorrow about lunch, northeast 10 to 15 is what it looks like to me. Over.
Yeah, thanks, David. That's great. I just want to get a little bit of rest from the company conditions. Sure the crew will be pleased about that, over.
Yeah, it can get a bit tiresome, can't it? By the time you've managed to cope with it, when you go to have a sleep, it's time to get up again. So, I don't think I wrote down how many you've got on board, over.
Yeah, Patricia, there's 4 on board, over.
Okay, four on board. Oh well, you've got plenty of time to get accustomed to the bumps. But yes, it is nice to get a bit of a relaxing day in, especially if it's reasonably sunny. You can enjoy. I haven't heard of anybody doing much in the way of fishing lately, so I guess it's just been a little bit on the boisterous side for that. So with a bit of calmer weather, maybe you can drag a line and see what happens. So sounds like apart from the boisterousness, all is well on board. Over.
Yeah, all is well on board. One of the crew had a little bit of a fall last night, but they've recovered. They're okay. And Sunday's our fishing day on the boat, so we'll give it a crack and see what's been done.
Oh, good show. Oh, well, we've asked the right questions then. All right, talking about a fall, I have a walking day on Monday, and we have a nurse there who's a surgical nurse, a very experienced woman, and a sailor as well. They've just stopped sailing now, but we were talking about the Patriot X situation where the guy, and they didn't say what was wrong, but the person that did the operation, as it was called, on the Starlink with the surgeon in Australia, evidently had a sort of like a thick, I would call it a piece of barbed wire, but it was a hollow, quite thick needle which he put in, and she explained that probably what happened was that the person had a fall and a rib punctured the lung, so that the lung would have collapsed. And evidently the lungs have got 2 layers around the outside, and in between the 2 layers is a vacuum. Now you're talking, I didn't quite understand what was going on, but evidently the idea was that you put this needle in until the air or bits of blood stopped coming out, and the way you found that out was you attached this needle to, they put it into water, and as soon as the bubbles stopped, then you knew that you had got the air out. And that's it just goes to show that there's all sorts of things that can result from a fall on a boat. So the idea, of course, is not to have one, but I thought her explanation was really interesting, and we thought we had a pretty good, because we did a 2-week course, pretty good kit, but we certainly didn't have that in it. But this guy's trauma kit, in fact, did have something to cope with that, so it's something to think of for the future. All right, well, we'll clear with you, and is there anybody else?
Gulf Harbour, this is sailing up for Coastal Drifter. Over.
Coastal Drifter, and I bet you guys have acclimatized yourself to the warmer, humid weather in Fiji now. How's it going, Philip? Over.
Well, you're right. It's certainly humid up here. We've been in Savu for nearly a week. Well, some days, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, we arrived last Sunday, and we left again today. We're heading for Vunda via the south corner. We're going to pass by Suva Bay. Over.
Okay, so you're going to go around the bottom, around the coastline there to Vunda, and gosh, I would have thought you would go up and have a look at Ramby Island and all those sorts of places. We quite enjoyed those, but you're on your way to Vunda. What's the overall plan? Over.
We have just about a little less than 2 weeks there before we take a flight back to Canada for a month or two.
Ah, okay. So back home for the see what the winter bodes. I'll just see if David's got an update from Fiji. Here he is. They probably have it.
Yeah, this is the forecast from Fiji Met for tomorrow. They're calling off east to southeast winds, 15 to 20, 15 to 20, and moderate to rough seas and moderate southwesterly swell. And that should continue. They're going to change it. So further outlook, according to them, so it'll be day after tomorrow, be east to northeast winds, 15 to 20. Over.
Yeah, that's what changed my mind about going over the north shore as those winds going to the north. So I better have them behind me.
Yep, I guess so. And you really can't afford to muck around if you've got only a couple of weeks to get sorted when you, or to get there and get sorted. So, alrighty, well, we'll talk to you again tomorrow night, Philip, see where you've got to, over.
Roger, I'll give you my position.
Go ahead.
Okay, we're at 17 degrees, 25 minutes south, 179 degrees, 11 minutes east. Our speed is about 5 knots. Our course about 185 true. And the wind is southeast about 12 to 13 knots. Over.
Okay, and sorry about that. I thought that you were planning to go to Vunda, so you're on your way. 1725 south, 17911 east, and 5 knots on the course of 185 at the moment. We'll be following things around, and southeast 12 to 13. That sounds pretty decent at the moment, over.
Yeah, it's pretty easy going just now, over.
Yeah, alrighty. Oh well, I hope it doesn't get boisterous. I'm sure it will be quite pleasant evening there. What's the cloud cover?
Roger, we'll be looking to check in again tomorrow.
Okay, we'll talk to you then. Is there anybody else for Gulf Harbour? I'm going to see if I can find Calamira, and then also we'll try and find Alula on the other frequency, but I haven't had much luck so far. But before I say goodnight to you here, is there anybody else? No? And just hello from Alice. So she might have missed, although she probably looked later. Yep, and hello from Whitehawk, John and Lynette. So I wonder what they're going to be doing. Right, anyway, that's about it from here, and we will be back again tomorrow night. So have a good night, everybody, and we will just have a quick call on 82907. Cheers all. Gulf Harbour Radio on 82907. We are looking for Alula, or Calamira.
Okay.
Alula, Gulf Harbour Radio. Nothing heard. We are clear. Cheers, everybody.